Hi, this is Ilma Art Studios photograph for today. Beautiful cloud formation. Um, uh, this is near my house. I love clouds. Hi, check my website at ilmaarts.com for more artworks and photographs. Today I'd like to share Isaiah 51 verse 1. It says, "Listen to me, all who hope for deliverance, all who seek the Lord. Consider the rock from which you were cut, the quarry from which you were mined." Here's my poem. The rock where you were cut from. All those who seek the Lord will be delivered. He gives hope to all who are believers. The rock that you came from is precious. That strength only comes from Jesus. You were cut from the rock that will stand time. No matter what storms come, you will be fine. The quarry that you were mined from is full. It is only by believing in God that you will be whole. Here's my essay. I was fascinated by rocks because my father studied them. As a geodetic engineer, he did a lot of surveying. Whenever he came home from the field, he would show me different beautiful kinds of rocks that he discovered. It was one of the most exciting moments I ever spent with my father, and my ears were all open to hear his knowledge on these rocks. As I grew up, I would always pick up a rock and imagine what these rocks went through to have that characteristics that they have. The Bible tells us that we were cut from the most magnificent rock, Jesus Christ. We will stand storms and different weather changes and turn out to be a unique and magnificent one. Prayer. Lord, help me to appreciate even the storms that make me beautiful. Reflection. What trials and storms have made you who you are now? Oh, I could go on and on for days just enumerating all the storms and trials that I have gone through since I was 2 years old. But the most significant trial and storm that God has transformed me into who I am now is when I was faced with loneliness in my late 40s, that I began to do something about my situation. I left my country of origin to move here to Canada, and that is one of the trials that I think that God's hand was in that turn of events, because I knew, I think sometimes God gives us, He doesn't give us the trials, but sometimes He does. But most of the time, most of the things that happened to me were usually an offshoot of my sin, an offshoot of my disobedience. But God can always turn anything that is ugly or anything that is a trial to make us into a better person that He wants us to be. Just like in this verse, it talks about how the Lord is there for those who seek Him. So in other words, He reminds us that we are from Him. We are made in His image. And the rock that He is also what we are inside. We only need to be able to recognize that, and we will only recognize that when we are abiding in Him. So this trial and storm that I've been telling you about is because I was raising my son on my own, and by the time I was in my 40s, he was growing up to be like a teenager. He was about 16 or 17, and I was so scared that I will be on my own again without anybody. So I did date online so that I'll be able to find my husband. My first husband I did, but it was wrong. But God used that for me to, because my first husband abused me, and that it was not what God intended for me, but he used that desperation I went through so that I will be in Canada and eventually meet my second husband and eventually get me focused more on God rather than all my plans in my life. So that's one of the storms that I went through, that God reminded me where I came from, the rock where I was cut from, and from the quarry where I came from, and that is from His kingdom. Thanks for watching, and I hope you check my website at ilmaarts.com for more artworks and photographs. Have a blessed day. God loves you so much, and so do I.